What is up, guys? This is the Hiding Our Bias podcast. I'm Caleb Brooks, along with my co-host Tripp Blackmon. Tripp, how's it going, man?
Going good, man. In the midst of school, in the midst of a lot of midterm tests or getting ready for some midterms. How are you?
I'm doing good. Same thing. Just got school going on and having to deal with it, and just try to keep up with all the stuff going on in sports right now and in the world in general with all the different things that the world's got going on, and all the Kaepernick deal still going on and everything like that. So, but tonight, Gary Sanchez hit his 18th and 19th home run of the season.
Yeah, what is that? 40, 45 games?
Yeah, 45 games.
45 games. This man has hit 19 home runs. That is unreal. What if he were to play a full season, 162 games? I wonder what that pace would be. Do you know?
Yeah, it's 68. He would hit
60,
68 in one season.
68 home runs in one season. I don't know when the last time that was done. Probably over 8, 9 years ago, back in the height of the steroid era, probably. But 68 home runs, that's a ridiculous number. And what's even more ridiculous about it to me is that the people that did hit over 68 home runs in a season had a better pace than this. Like, we're sitting around watching this guy crank out home runs like every other game. It seems like every other bat. And there are guys, Barry Bonds, did Mark McGwire do it too?
I think McGwire hit 60 something.
Well, I know Bonds did it.
Or
That
McGwire may have
is,
hit 70.
I do think McGwire hit 70.
Yeah.
Like McGwire
Sosa
did
hit
it.
65 or 66, I think.
Like, these guys were cranking out home runs like this on the reg. Like those three guys were doing that pretty much every single year for like a couple years. I'm glad we finally get to see a guy who is absolutely tearing the ball up and he's on fire. And the guy's a catcher too. I
Yeah, I
mean,
was
you
just
don't.
about to say that. He's a catcher. You never see that from a catcher.
I mean, usually if you're a catcher, you're paid to just call the game, block up balls, and every now and then hit a home run. You catcher a good catching and batting average is like 250. You know, so you can get away with being a little bit of a bad hitter as a catcher, but this guy is just absolutely going above and beyond what the Yankees uh, thought he would do. I mean, it's just wild.
Yeah, and it kind of shows the reason why you saw in August that there was a lot of talk between the Braves and the Yankees for Brian McCann. And I remember I kept wondering, like, why would the Yankees give up Brian McCann and all this stuff? But I think you can kind of see why they, now were willing to put Brian McCann on the market and get him out of the Yankees organization after he had a monster year a season ago for the Yankees, hitting 240 something with 36 home runs.
Yeah, the Yankees definitely got it going on in their farm system. They're itching to get back to where they were back in their where they're going for the World Series every single year. I saw yesterday their AAA team, the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Yankees, won the AAA National Championship or whatever they call it. So good news for them and their farm system right there. I think it was Phil Koch. I didn't realize he was still playing, but he closed the game out for him and helped him win. So a lot of promising young talent in the Yankee organization. So I know that in future years they're going to get back to where they were back when we were growing up, back in Derek Jeter's heyday and when A-Rod was just, in his prime and all that. So that'll be fun to watch in the coming years.
Yeah, it's kind of like how in college football's at its best when you got Alabama, Texas, USC, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan, and all those teams are playing their best football. And baseball is best when the Yankees are playing their best ball and the Red Sox are playing their best ball, and you've got that rivalry going. So it would definitely be nice to see the Yankees get back up there and hopefully see the Braves get back up there here soon because their farm system, like you said with the Yankees, has been producing, and they had all of them had successful seasons this year. Single A Double A and Triple A. So hopefully the Braves can get good. But for baseball's sake, we need the Yankees to be back to where they were back in, the late 1990s and early 2000s, and it would just be really good for baseball to see the Yankees get back to that state and that competitiveness.
Yeah, for me personally, I am really big into uh, the farm system. I love the farm league system. I believe if you have a good farm league system, you might not do well this year, but in the future, 2, 3 years from now, you're going to be great. And I think a great, excellent example of that is the Rays in 2008. 2008, they just got good, and they were only good for like 2, 3 years until people came and picked up their really good players. But I remember, and the only reason I know this is because me and you both, we grew up close to Montgomery, so I would go watch the Montgomery Biscuits play, which is the Double A team for the Rays, and I remember just the Biscuits came to town in 2004. I would watch the Biscuits play 2004, 5, 6. They kept bringing in this talent. I saw David Price come through. I saw Evan Longoria come through. B.J. Upton come through. I saw Carlos Pena. All these guys came through, and I was wondering, why are the Rays terrible and the Biscuits are so good? And then a couple years down the road, when those guys made it at the big leagues, then it started showing that these guys can actually produce, and they have a chance to win a championship. Obviously, they didn't win the World Series, but that really proved to me that why the farm league is such a big part in your organization.
Yeah, well, another team that you can look at for that is the Cubs. The Cubs developed a lot of talent through their farm system, and now you see where they are. They've already clinched their division. They ran away with it this year, and all those players they had coming up came up last year and this year, and they've been able to produce immediately. And Chicago is looking like the best team in baseball. But as we saw a year ago, the best team in baseball doesn't always win it. I
Right.
thought a year ago that the Cardinals were the best team in baseball, and they got beat in the first round. So
Yeah.
just because the Cubs have it locked up already does not mean that they're, a lock to go to the World Series, but they are favorites.
Yeah, they're definitely favorites, and if they can stay hot, I think that they got a really good chance. The only difference is it's kind of playoff baseball. It's a whole nother animal. You go from worrying about just winning games to actually worrying about winning the series, and it's just a whole nother mindset. It's a whole nother animal. Takes a whole I don't want to say it's a different mindset for the managers. You kind of want to stick with your regular mindset, but you got to be thinking more. Like in the regular season, the manager's not thinking, okay, we got to win this series. The manager's thinking, just win this game right here. We'll worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow, as long as we just win one game at a time, it's not a big deal. But in the playoffs, you're looking to win a series, so that changes a little bit of the mindset, and it's really why I think last year the Cubs were kind of hot going into it, and then kind of cooled off when they faced the Mets. But I think this year around, I think that they're going to do a lot better. They got all that young talent, got a little bit more experience. Joe Madden, he knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's a great, great manager. But yeah, I look for it. I look for it to come out different this year for the Cubs. But one thing I wanted to point at is you, the Yankees and the Red Sox. Obviously, historically, the greatest rivalry in baseball. Historically, well, now it's kind of shifting over to the Giants and the Dodgers. Did you see what happened yesterday with Bumgarner and Puig?
Yeah, I don't really understand why they got into it. I know that they've had a history of kind of getting into it, but I just saw where Puig hit the ball back to Bumgarner, Bumgarner threw it to first and kind of yelled. And then I think you see Bumgarner look over at Puig, and you just see him say, "Don't look at me." And I don't really know, what that had to do with anything. But then all of a sudden it just escalated, and them two teams have gotten into a lot of fights here lately. And I agree with you. I think that rivalry is starting to take the Yankee and Red Sox place as a heated rivalry where the two teams don't like each other. And you're seeing with the Yankees and Red Sox, they've had a lot of players coming in and out the last few years. The Dodgers and the Giants are pretty much, they've stayed the same. They've had the same players. They've kept the same guys in, and those two teams don't like each other.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Um, I, I don't know exactly. I pretty much know the same amount that you do on the Bumgarner Puig situation, but I can just imagine all the frustration that the Giants have been going through. Blowing they had the best record in baseball in the first half, and now they're completely wetting the bed. There's a high possibility that they're not going to make the play. Well, I say high possibility. I think they're tied for the wild card right now, but I mean they're letting it slip right from out of their fingers. I mean they had it in their hands and they're just letting it go. Bumgarner actually last night he actually threw really well, 10 Ks, but the Dodgers won on a walk off. So they're really frustrated over there, and the Dodgers are just laughing to the bank, taking over first place. So that's I'm sure that adds to a little bit of the rivalry. But it has been interesting, and that wild card race is really heating up. Who do you think's going to take it? I think
Well,
it's the Cardinals, the Dodgers, and who else is tied with them?
Giants, Mets, and Cardinals
Giants,
tied for first place right now.
Giants, Mets, Cardinals. Yeah, that's right. Who do you like in that?
I actually do like the Giants to end up making it out of that, and I think it's going to be the Giants and the Cardinals.
I do too. It really hurt the Mets. If the Mets had all their pitchers healthy, I really think
Yeah,
that the Mets would
that's been the
make a
one
run.
that's been the one bad spot for them is that they don't have any pitching. Unlike they did last year, and I definitely, even if they were to make the wild card, I don't think they win the wild card game because of that. They don't have DeGrom, they don't have Harvey. I guess Bartolo Colon would be the guy they throw in it, so I think that would hurt them. The American League is a close race as well. Toronto is up one game on Baltimore, and then Baltimore is up one game on Detroit and Houston, and two games on Seattle, and 2.5 on the Yankees. So, you got a close race in the American League. We're down to the last 3 weeks of uh, the last 2 weeks of the baseball season. So things are starting to really heat up with the number of games starting to really, get low.
Yeah, it's getting really fun, and I actually think that the Mets still have Cologne and Syndergaard. I think Syndergaard's still healthy. But still, they're missing out on Matz, they're missing out on Harvey, and they're missing out on who's the other guy they got?
DeGrom.
DeGrom. Yeah, if they had all three of those guys could be on any pitching staff in the country, and they would be either one, two, or three. All three of those guys would. You could pick any team. Um, so it's kind of a shame that they're missing some of those guys, or else this year could possibly be their year. But with that being said, I just don't think that they'll make the wild card with that. I think the Cardinals the Cardinals and the Giants are going to play for the wild card spot, and I think that's going to be kind of interesting because the Cardinals have kind of been letting it drift away too. They've been really struggling here lately. They started out pretty hot and now they're kind of cooling off, or they've cooled off, and they're fighting to get back into it. But I know they're happy, and I know that uh, they're fighting for a spot. So I think it'll be them too. Um, but now might as well move on to the best part of the week, football. A lot. Well, first off, before I get ahead of myself, what what did you take away from last week?
That Louisville may be the best team in the country. I mean, honestly, and I'm not, I'm usually not a guy that jumps into the hype train real quick on people, but Louisville took it to Florida State and then never looked back, and they completely dominated that football game, and they made it ugly quick. It was 14-10, and all of a sudden you blinked, and it was 49-10.